All right, let's just dive right into this explainer. Think of this as a Stoic philosophy masterclass designed specifically for modern challenges. We're going to go ahead and completely shatter that childish myth that emotional strength just means, not crying. Real emotional power, that's when life tries to break your mind, and it absolutely fails. The top 0.01% of mentally powerful people out there, they understand something pretty dangerous. Pain is unavoidable, for sure, but emotional suffering, that is actually often engineered by the brain itself. And once you really get how your mind creates that suffering, you stop being controlled by people, by rejection, failure, fear, the whole shebang. So today, you're going to learn exactly how to become emotionally unbreakable.
Picture this. Imagine two people, and they both lose literally everything. They face the exact same hardship. One of them just collapses into depression, right? But the other one actually rebuilds their entire life and comes back even stronger than before. It's the exact same pain, but a completely different psychology. We have to ask ourselves, why does one break and the other just thrive? Well, it's because emotionally powerful people don't experience reality the same way the rest of us do. Their minds are trained differently.
To see how they actually pull this off, we're going to walk through the 6 structured steps the elite used to build an unbreakable mind. The illusion of emotional strength, mastering the prediction machine, detaching from external validation, transforming pain into power, curating your mental environment, and finally, the unbreakable professional's playbook.
Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, the illusion of emotional strength.
Here's the thing. Pain is just an unavoidable part of being human. We all go through it. But the ongoing emotional suffering that comes after, that is actually a byproduct of your own mind. Emotionally weak people operate under this massive illusion that feeling bad means something bad definitely happened to them. They treat their very first emotional reaction like it's breaking news, accepting it as absolute, undeniable fact. But realizing that you are actually the architect of your own suffering, that is step 1 to reclaiming your power.
Moving right along to Section 2, Mastering the Prediction Machine.
Now, neuroscience reveals something super fascinating. Your brain is basically a prediction machine. It acts kind of like an overly dramatic algorithm, constantly trying to predict reality before it even happens. What this means is you aren't actually reacting to life itself, you're reacting to your interpretation of life. This is exactly why the very same criticism can completely destroy one person, but serve as this massive source of motivation for someone else. The ancient Stoic Marcus Aurelius hit the nail on the head 2,000 years ago when he said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." And modern psychology has completely proven him right.
So instead of just believing that feeling bad is this set-in-stone reality, emotionally strong people do something different. They pause, they stop and ask themselves one single life-changing question. What story is my brain creating right now? Just asking that simple question interrupts the brain's automatic prediction process. It forces you to actually look at the narrative you've attached to an event rather than just blindly suffering through the emotion.
If you want to stop reacting blindly, you've got to know how to identify those emotional triggers. You can actually do this by following 3 brief, really precise psychological steps whenever hardship strikes. Step 1. Notice the physical reaction. Your body almost always reacts before your conscious mind does, Maybe your chest gets tight or your jaw clenches up. Step 2. Pause before interpretation. Literally just hold the space. Don't immediately label whatever happened as a total disaster. And step 3. Identify the underlying story. Ask yourself, what am I telling myself right now that makes this mean I'm in danger or failing? Getting a handle on these steps gives you total control over your triggers.
Let's jump into Section 3, Detaching from External Validation.
Let's be honest, most of us are totally controlled by approval, right? Likes, attention, praise, relationships, it runs our lives. But if you look back through history, it shows us that the most powerful, emotionally independent minds were often completely misunderstood by the people around them. I mean, Galileo Galilei was punished for speaking the truth. Vincent van Gogh was constantly mocked. Nikola Tesla died completely alone. These brilliant minds were able to achieve what they did for one simple reason. They stopped outsourcing their self-worth to the crowd.
Because here is a pretty brutal, undeniable reality. If compliments control you, insults will absolutely destroy you. The second your identity depends on other people's opinions or approval, your emotions become rented property. You don't own them anymore. Emotionally unbreakable people, on the other hand, they build internal validation. They learn to deeply respect themselves way before the world ever does, which basically makes them immune to that endless, exhausting roller coaster of public opinion.
All right, Section 4. Transforming pain into power. Psychology points out something really shocking about human nature. We actually suffer vastly more from resisting pain than from the pain itself.
Think about losing a relationship. Yes, the initial pain is incredibly real, but then your brain kicks in and starts creating this massive emotional resistance. It starts whispering, "This shouldn't have happened," or "This is so unfair," or "My entire life is ruined." That internal friction of rejecting reality, that multiplies your suffering exponentially. Elite thinkers see pain as information, not as an identity. It's kind of like an athlete who knows their muscles literally have to tear before they can grow. Emotionally strong people know that psychological hardship is just the mind rewiring and strengthening itself. One person turns pain into an identity, while the other transforms it into pure growth.
This actually aligns perfectly with the really profound discovery made by Viktor Frankl. While surviving the unimaginable horrors of Nazi concentration camps, Frankl realized something incredible. Humans can survive almost anything, provided they have meaning. When your life has no direction, even small problems can feel just massive. But when your mission actually matters, pain just becomes another part of the journey, rather than a force of destruction. Purpose strengthens you, whereas just seeking comfort all the time, that weakens you.
Which brings us to Section 5, curating your mental environment.
A lot of people think emotions are just this deeply personal internal thing. Nope, not at all. Think about the daily inputs attacking your mental fortress. Negative people, endless doom scrolling on social media, constantly comparing yourself to others, consuming toxic news 24/7. These environmental inputs are literally training your nervous system to stay anxious. They're programming your emotions without you even realizing it. The top 0.01% of performers understand this completely, which is exactly why they guard their minds like an absolute fortress.
You've got to be ruthless about choosing what you watch, who you hang out with, and what thoughts you actually allow yourself to repeat every single day. Why? Because repeated thoughts literally become emotional habits, and over time, those emotional habits solidify into your entire personality. Your inputs dictate your emotional future, so you have to curate them strictly.
And finally, Section 6, the Unbreakable Professional's Playbook.
In the worlds of economics and business, emotional stability isn't just nice to have, it is a literal superpower. Most people end up destroying their own opportunities simply because they can't control temporary emotions. Investors panic during market crashes, weak entrepreneurs throw in the towel too early. Meanwhile, emotionally disciplined people stay remarkably calm. Warren Buffett famously said, "Be fearful when others are greedy, and greedy when others are fearful." That's not just some standard investing advice. It proves that emotional mastery allows disciplined people to build massive fortunes during times of complete chaos. The person who controls their emotions during uncertainty is the one who controls the outcomes.
So what does this look like in practice? To build this kind of lasting mental toughness, high performers integrate 3 daily habits to keep absolute emotional control. First up, audit your mental diet daily. Be fiercely protective of the information and the energy you consume. Second, practice purposeful discomfort to tear and grow those psychological muscles. Actually expose yourself to small, controlled stressors so the big ones don't break you. And third, always reframe pain as information rather than identity. When you hurt, ask yourself what the data is telling you to change, rather than just assuming it means you're broken.
To sum up this playbook for high-performing professionals, you become unbreakable when you truly internalize these key takeaways. You have to stop needing constant validation from the outside world. You've got to control your interpretation of events instead of just reacting blindly to your first impulse. You need to actively turn your suffering into wisdom. You must fiercely protect your mental environment. And finally, you absolutely have to build a purpose that is so much bigger than any temporary emotion. You just have to refuse to let a fleeting feeling destroy your long-term opportunities.
I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Because the reality is, eventually, life is going to test you. It tests absolutely everyone. That test is coming. And in that moment, when everything is on the line, your psychological training is going to be your only real defense. So, when that moment arrives, will your emotions become your prison, or will they become your power? The choice, and the daily training, is entirely up to you.